Nigeria is a criminal enterprise that is being mistaken for a country with several terrible politicians and their terrible supporters. Yes, Nigerian politicians, 95% of them are so terrible. In fact, they are horrible. So do to their supporters. Yes, their supporters, their followers are as terrible as those they are supporting. Let me read this news for my audience to hear. This news was as at 13th of January 2013. ACN wants electronic voting in 2015. As at 13th January 2013, ACN were already advocating for electronic voting. Remember, ACN later became APC. Yes, there was this coalition that happened 2013/2014 that became APC. Several parties merged to form APC. As at 2013, they were already demanding for electronic voting ahead of 2015 election. Yes, ACN were already asking for electronic voting ahead of 2015 general election. Mind you, electronic voting is not what we are even asking for now. We are only requesting that our election result be transmitted electronically from polling unit to INEC server in real time on election day, just to be able to avoid all this manipulation, this figure changing that they are doing in all these coalition centers. This is all we want. But it will interest you to know that the same people that was calling for electronic voting in 2015 election are now saying to us today in 2026. Let me read what they are now saying. Electoral bill. Senate says INEC lack capacity for e-voting. The same people that said Nigeria is due to conduct electronic voting in 2015 are telling us today, 11 years later, that Nigeria is not capable of conducting an electronic voting. Not be juju be that, Nigerians. The same people, this set of people were led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu and those people that form APC. They were the one calling for e-voting. But now they have taken power since 2015. APC have formed the government at the central. Yes, they are the federal government today. And this has been for the past 11 years. Just 11 years later, the same people that felt that Nigeria was ripe enough for e-voting 11 years back are now telling us in 2026 that Nigeria does not have the capacity to conduct e-voting, electronic voting. Meanwhile, what we are asking for is transmitting election result electronically from polling unit to INEC server in real time on the election day. This is not an electronic voting. Electronic voting is when you are completing. Your vote is instantly counting on a general monitor that is being viewed by the world at the very instance. That is what electronic voting is. While you are voting is reflecting directly at a central monitor. But what we are asking for now is to transmit election results that was manually printed. Just take the picture and transmit it electronically to avoid figures changing, manipulation in those coalition centers where they normally rigged our election. Nigerians, this is why I said Nigeria is a criminal entity that is being mistaken for a country. This is a country being governed by a group of criminals, and today those same people do not want electronic transmission of election results. But that is what we must get.